Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I am the 9 times great-granddaughter of Sarah Wilds, and my name is Mary Bingham, and I'm doing a lot of research regarding the life of Sarah as I prepare to write a book about her. And one of the wonderful things that I'm finding about writing a book about her and researching is finding out about all the other people that lived in her time and the courage that they displayed under immense pressure, oppression. It's just amazing to me. So one such story I came across was the story of Mary Hadley. Now, if any of you descend from Mary Hadley, please comment below and offer any information that you don't hear presented here about her life. That would be wonderful. So, as far as I know, Mary Hadley was born to George and Mary Proctor Hadley in 1657 at Essex County. She was one of probably seven children. She was the younger sister to Samuel Hadley, who married Jane Martin, who was daughter of Susanna Martin, who was also hanged in 1692. So this story happened to Mary Hadley when she was only 9 years old. Her uncle sent Mary to the cornfield located over a mile from his home to see if the cattle were present. When she passed by Thomas Bower's house, Zacchaeus Curtis Jr. saw Mary, followed her, tackled her, and beat her with one or more likely than not 2 rods. Let her go, tackled her again, beat her again with the rods, and repeated this at least 4 times. Now, when he beat her, it's described in the court documents that she was pinned so that her feet were under his arms and her face was smashed into the ground. So she could barely move, but she must have put up a fight because after the second beating, he tried to force her to go into the swamp. Now, realizing that she must have been in incredible danger if that happened to her, that it might even mean the end of her life, she fought him, and she never did get into the swamp, which is amazing to me. And then she threatened to tell her aunt, at which time Zacchaeus Curtis Jr. told her he would beat her 4 times as much if she did just that. However, being a 9-year-old child, she displayed such courage by telling someone, probably her aunt, who was then probably able to get one of the men in their family to file the complaint for the court, on her behalf for the court. Because as you know, back in the 1600s, children and women could not file complaints on their own behalf. They had to have a male in their family do that for them. And also, too, in a society in Puritan times when children were only seen and not heard, so to speak, she had adults willing to stick their necks out to protect her. How loved and safe Mary, must have felt with her aunt or the person that she eventually told. But not only that, 4 prominent men in their community stood up and testified, actually deposed against Zacchaeus Curtis, stating that he did these things to several children. And those men were Mr. Perkins, not sure which Perkins it was, there were a lot of them that lived at that time, John Wilds, Francis Peabody, and John Gould. Now, all these men were all very prominent in their community and did not, as far as I know, have any stain against their name at that time. So that's a big thing for them to step up to the plate. Mary Hadley then later deposed in 1675 that a goodwife prince was beaten by her husband Thomas. Now, I believe this goodwife prince was probably Elizabeth Prince. And Mary, again, willing to step up to the plate and display the courage to help protect someone that she loved, or just to see that justice was done for someone that needed help. Mary actually saw this abuse firsthand when Thomas was falling down drunk and physically and verbally abused his wife, saying she and John Cook committed fornication. So, after 1675, it's not sure exactly what happened to Mary Hadley, except for I do know that she married a gentleman with the surname of Page before September 18th of 1684. When and where she died, I don't have any documentation. So if you are a descendant of her and you have that documentation, please feel free to share it with us all in the comments below. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this video. And September 7th, that is this Sunday night in the year 2020, if you're listening, I am having a Facebook Live event, and it's called Battle at the Boundary. And it can be found in my Facebook page, which is under Mary Louise Bingham. And if you go to my events, you can see it. Click that you're going, and it will show up on your news feed at 7 p.m. on Sunday night, September 7th. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.